Hello everybody, this is Mac, and we're going to be doing rearranging formulas. This is version B. There was a version A that we did earlier, and so if you need some more help, you can always go back to there. And if you haven't seen this yet, please go to maxtutorials.com, and I have math videos galore on there, and this will really help you with any subject, any not every subject, but any questions you may have in algebra. And for these videos, it really helps if you like and subscribe them for me, okay? So let's get going on B. So all we're doing here, we're not even really solving any equations. All we're doing is we're rearranging formulas. We're just, for lack of a better term, we're rearranging the furniture, okay? And as we learn when solving, I wish that when I did these, there was a space here. I apologize for not having that, but, just know that there's little s's, there's little, spaces in here. So we're going to solve for B. What that means is they want B to be by itself. And so what you're going to do is I find the B and I go, okay, I want my B by itself, so I need to get rid of the H. How do I get rid of the H? Well, we want it to cross the equal sign. And when we cross an equal sign, we just do the opposite of what it says. So this is B times H, so I'm going to divide each side by H. When I do that, these H's cancel out, and I'm left with my B. And what does B equal? It equals A over H. Yes, I switched the left and the right a little bit. That's okay. I want you to get used to doing that. That's all right. P equals 4s. Looks like a perimeter problem to me. Okay, we want the s by itself. The 4 is in the way. That means 4 times s. So we're going to divide by 4, and we're going to get P over 4 equals s. Or you could write s equals P over 4. It's the same answer either way. Number 5, C equals pi d, and we're going to solve for d. Well, pi is what's in the way. The pi is multiplying the d, so we're just going to divide by the pi. Boom, boom, and we're going to get d equals c over pi. Boom, 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 boom. Ready? Number 7, y equals mx plus b, and we're going to solve for x. Okay, so now this one's a little bit different. I have a term here and a term here. Remember, a term is something that's separated by a plus or a minus. You can't divide by that m until it's the only term. So if I divide by m right now, I'm going to ruin the whole thing. I've got to get this term alone. So this term, the b, is what I have to move. So it's plus b, so the opposite is minus b. So I'm going to do that to both sides. Boom. Now I'm left with y minus b equals mx. Now I want to solve for x, so I want to get rid of the m. Well, guess what? That's the only term. So now I'm allowed to divide. I wasn't allowed earlier, but I am now. And when you divide by a side, you divide everything on that side. So I'm not dividing the y or the b. I'm dividing the y and the b. So x equals y minus b all over m. Okay. Ooh, whoa, what happened? X equals y minus b over m. And I'm going to kind of circle that and hope it doesn't disappear on me. Okay, a equals 1/2 bh. That would be a triangle area problem. Now I have a denominator here. So what I want to do is I'm going to multiply each of these sides by 2. If I do that, remember, that's like 2 over 1. That will cancel this out. So I'm going to get 2a equals bh. The 2 is now gone. But I want to solve for b. So I want to get rid of the h. So I'm going to multiply or divide each side by h. And I get 2a over h equals b. Okay, and that's my answer. Let's go on to number 11. V equals u plus at. Solve for the t. Well, now I have two terms again. So I need this u term to go the other way. So I'm going to subtract u from both sides. V minus u equals, they die, a t. And I want to solve for t, so I'm going to divide each side by a. Okay? T equals v minus u over a. Boom, 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 boom. M equals 4x minus 3y. And we want to solve for the y. So everybody's got to go away but the y. Now remember, this is another one where I have two terms. I can't divide by -3 because it's not by itself. So the first step I need to do is I need to subtract the 4x to both sides. Okay, they go away. Now I have m minus 4x equals, now remember that negative sign is still there, negative 3y. Now I have the term isolated, it's all by itself, so I'm going to divide him by -3. What do I divide this by? All of it gets divided by the -3. So y equals m minus 4x all over negative 3. And that's how we would solve for this one. Okay, well, that's it on that column. Let's move over to this column. D equals VT for V. Okay, well, let's just divide each side by a t. That'll cancel that out, and I'm left with V equals D over T. Okay, now V, that's volume, equals pi r squared. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to divide each side by, we want to solve, oh, sorry, pi r squared h. Sorry about that. And we want to solve for h. Well, everything's multiplying by the h, so I'm just going to divide everything, and yes, I can do it in one step. And then they cross out, and I'm left with my h all by itself. So I get, oh, wait, hit the wrong button there, v over pi r squared equals h. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Number 6, I equals PRT. That's an interest problem. Okay. So we want P by itself. The R and the T are multiplying by the P. So I just want to divide by both of them, just like this. Boom, boom. And I get I over RT equals P. Boom, 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 boom. Done. Number 8, F equals ma. Force equals mass times acceleration. And we're going to solve for m. Okay, so I'm just going to divide each side by a. Boom. And I'm left with m equals F over a. Okay, let's go on to number 10. K equals x plus y over 2 for y. Now, is still one term, because if you have a plus sign in a numerator, it doesn't matter. Okay, you kind of think of that as like maybe a parentheses that's inside of one term. This is still one term. So once we get this one term, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply. Go away. There we go. I'm going to multiply each side by 2. That's like 2 over 1. These are going to cancel out, and I'm left with 2k equals x plus y. I want to solve for y. The x is adding, so I'm just going to subtract the x from both sides, and I'm going to end up with 2k minus x equals y. Number 12, p equals 2l plus 2w over 2. Solve for w. All righty, let's go for this one. First of all, I have that denominator that I just want to get rid of. So just like what we did in the last problem, we're going to multiply each side by 2. 2p equals 2l plus 2w. Great, that's a good place to start. I want to solve for w, but I only have 2 terms. So I want to get rid of this term. I want to get rid of the l term, but I have to subtract it because it's being added. They're going to go away. Now watch what is this? Oh my gosh, this is crazy. P's and L's. What am I going to do? You just write it like this. If you can't combine them, you don't combine them. You just write it out. And that equals 2w. And I want the w to be by itself, so I'm just going to divide each side by 2. My w equals 2p minus 2l over 2. Boom, 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 boom. Going on to our last one, we want to solve for p. So we want p by itself. Again, we have 2 terms. I can't divide by that r until the term is by itself. So I'm going to start by adding s to both sides. And I'm going to get q plus s equals PR. I want to solve by p, so I need to divide by r. Which letter do I divide by? All of them, the entire side. Okay, and now my p is going to equal q plus s over r. All right, well, there's some rearranging of furniture. If you notice, they're all a little bit different, but I have a very similar process. So there's version B. If you feel really good about that version, just go on to the next section. If you want a little more help, go to the version C, which will be next. Take care, y'all.